The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
Is there such a thing as a perfect game in basketball? This isn't like baseball where a pitcher can go out and mow down 27 hitters, pitch a spotless game, no walks, no hits, feels perfect. But this Celtics team is giving me baseball vibes, at least these last two games. Gone sort of split squad, feels like a spring training selection here where you send half the team to Jupiter, half the team up the road, and win both games. Only these things matter, and, well, it sure felt like Celtics were as close to perfect as could be on Monday night, at least in terms of getting everything they could have wanted out of a visit from the Detroit Pistons. We'll run through it, but from essentially the top player on their roster to the last, everyone got a little something from this game. And the Celtics got themselves a 25-point victory as they continue to motor away from the rest of the league. What's up, everybody? Postgame Pod 68 coming to you after the Celtics take down the Detroit Pistons 119-94. Celtics now 54-14. 10 games up on the Bucks. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we start to look ahead. But here's what we got coming up. A water-soaked Derrick White goes one-on-one with Kayla Burton. And you'll hear from the rest of our all-female crew who absolutely crushed it in this game, who were as on fire as the Celtics team that continues to stack up wins. The Celtics are now 9-0 at home in their last 9 games, ever since that loss to the Lakers, which, let's not linger on that. The average win, 26.7 points. That's the differential in those games. Celtics have just absolutely dominated teams. Now it helps. They've had like the 52-point win over Golden State. A couple of the big ones in there, a 40-point win against the Nets, I believe it was. So some lofty numbers that help drive up that number to plus 240 over these 9 games. But it's not as if the Celtics aren't beating the pants off of everybody here. It's the Celtics are now up to a plus 11.7 differential for the season. That's downright historic. They have just shuffled percentage points ahead of that 2017 Warriors team. Sean Grandy's crunching the numbers. He's got it to 2 decimal places. And the Celtics are entering rarefied air. The 4th best overall at the moment, with a fairly agreeable schedule to the finish line of this season and a real chance here to finish among some lofty company. The only modern team, I'm going to say modern team, ahead of them is you might have heard of them, the 1996 Bulls. Jordan, Pippen, pretty good. And the Celtics are not too far behind that mark. The other 2 teams are the 72 LA and 71 Milwaukee. No disrespect to that era. I just think, when you crunch numbers, the Celtics have put themselves next to probably 2 of the most respected championship teams in NBA history in that 96 Bulls and the 17 Warriors. It's kind of absurd just how dominant they've been, how quietly dominant. I think I've told you guys this before. It sometimes feels a little bit boring, and Eddie House likes to push back on me and say, well, winning is never boring. And he's not wrong, but the Celtics are just kind of methodical in these games, and the last 2 nights it's been close early. Then midway through the first quarter, the Celtics are just like, we're going to start opening this thing up. And then they really open it up, and it never feels in doubt. Now, certainly, I'm not going to get too high about the fact that they've beaten the 11-win Wizards and the 12-win Pistons. But you got to play the schedule as it comes. And the Celtics took care of the daunting part of their schedule, what felt like on a nightly basis over the first 40, 50 games of the season. And now finally are seeing a little downshift in the talent level on the other side, it doesn't take away from what they're doing. So let's run through it real quick, top to bottom. Because it'd be easy to say that the only thing that matters is that the top guys on the team, the guys that are going to play in the playoffs, 1 through 8, 1 through 9, whatever you want to say, how good they're doing. We shouldn't obsess too much about the other spots on the team. And yet, all right, 1, Jason Tatum, or 1A, Jason Tatum. I don't want to get anybody upset if I'm ranking the Jays. Jason Tatum got his rest, which feels like a victory on its own. The Celtics have struggled to get him to downshift at all over the past few seasons. And after playing on Sunday night in Washington, somehow they managed to tie him down in the locker room or lie to him about when to be at the Garden tonight. And so he actually got a day off. 1B, Jaylen Brown. Took a night off and, still on fire since the All-Star break. 31 points, 30 minutes. More left-hand magic. JB's been awesome. Number 3, Kristaps Porzingis. After the 5-game absence, gets out there, shakes some rusts, hits 5 threes, playing on a minute restriction. We'll see if they let him come back on Wednesday night against the Bucks. 4, Derrick White. Triple-double, 6 threes. Malachi Flynn is still searching for the ball that Derrick White swatted on a fast break. It's just a ridiculous night that again ends with him getting a water bath from Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Luke Cornett, as they revel in, even as Derrick White would call it, his stat-padded triple-double. He had to really hunt that last assist, and some guys were doing him no favors. Thank you, Payton Pritchard, for allowing Derrick to go rest the final 5.5 minutes of the night. Number 5, Drew Holiday. Number 6, Al Horford. Those guys both get rest. And they all, we just told you, they got involved with that water bath, so they all still had some post-game activity to keep them busy. 7, Sam. All right, not the best news here. Like, he is going to be out a little bit, but it does sound, and watching him walk in with his wife before the game, it doesn't seem like it's too daunting an injury. Hopefully a lower grade sprain, and a chance for him to rest here for a little bit and get back on the court because he's been vital and his three-point shooting is missed when he's not out there. 8, Payton Pritchard. 23 points, 7 assists, 1 ridiculous behind-the-back feed on the break, plus 19 over 38 minutes, positive P. Every night he just goes out there and makes good things happen. It feels like people are finally starting to take notice of how good the Boston bench is. Sam, Luke, Peyton, they've been awesome. Number 9, Luke gets a start. Does Luke things. Got like a million offensive rebounds. Was fantastic. Yet again, just doing Luke things out there. 10, Xavier Tillman. I believe he's still shuffling his feet in front of frustrated Detroit would-be penetrators who just have not realized that no matter how much speed you have, Tillman can stay in front of you. Blocked a shot at one point. Just really like the versatility he brings. I love that everyone confuses him with Al when they're on the court because of the body types and their similar gear. I think there's going to be a game in the playoffs that Xavier Tillman, I don't want to say wins it, but is vital to getting into the finish line, whose defensive versatility is key in helping you win a game. I don't know what his role is going to be, how robust a role it might be, but man, he's fun to watch, and it's amazing that he can kind of not play a lot of minutes and go in there and keep the feet moving. Jaden Springer acquired at that same trade deadline. I'm not going to rank these. I'm not giving numbers to the end of bench guys. They're all the stay ready group. I'm gonna lump them in one big 11 to 14. Jaden Springer gets some good minutes here. A tough whistle. Blocking shots, showing some hustle. I want to yell at Abby. I think there was a point to give him a Tommy point. I'm not sure she gave it to him on her otherwise perfect night. Svi gets in there. Doesn't try to take too many threes. Makes good plays. Plays some defense at one point. Good stuff from Svi. Jordan Walsh, the rookie, gets some minutes at the finish line, back with the team, and with everybody, with the team a little bit shorthanded. He gets an opportunity, gets a dunk in transition to punctuate the night or to cap the night. And, it just felt like everything you could have hoped to accomplish in this game, maybe chief among it, emerging healthy, happened for the Celtics. And, Game 68 against a lottery-bound team, that's about all you could ask for. All positives. About as close to a perfect game as you can ask at this time of year. All right, now here's more of our post-game coverage.
Jen Rizzotti, Ashley Battle, Amina Smith here with you. Celtics defeating the Detroit Pistons 119-94. No Jason Tatum, no Al Horford, no Drew Holiday, and still, Jen, they get the win. What was your biggest takeaway after this game?
Well, just the unselfish basketball that the Celtics know how to play. Next man up mentality. It's not an easy thing at this time of the year to be wanting to play your best basketball heading into playoffs, but also find that balance of keeping your players healthy. And with 30 assists on the game, it's obvious that the Celtics understand their roles. They understand when it's their turn. And I got to give a shout out to the little guy. I mean, Pritchard. Nobody talks about him, but he had 23 points and 7 assists. Of course, the little point guard is going to talk about the little point guard, right?
Absolutely. She loves little people because if you guys didn't know, she's a little short. She's a little short.
What do you take away from this game, Ashley?
She's a little short. I think it's, one thing that has to be said, too, is that we're still fighting for the overall number 1 seed in the entire NBA. So even though, people say, oh, it's just Detroit. It's just Detroit. But this is an important game. Yep. Like, these games coming up down the stretch are all very important for seedings going into the playoffs. And it's just a testament to what Jen said, the next man up. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to be mentally tough because these games are going to be hard. And Detroit plays hard. They're a team that has had some difficult times, they play really well throughout the game, and then at the end they just haven't figured out a way to close, but they have really good players.
Yeah. You talk about it just being Detroit. I think back to December 28th when they took the Celtics into overtime. And it took that for the Celtics to win the game, so you can't overlook a team like the Pistons. All right, let's send it down to Kayla, who caught up with Derrick White after the win.
Derrick, huge congratulations on your first triple-double here in your career. I should have known. I
know. I'm not very subtle. You're too tall, Luke. You're too tall.
I should have seen him. You didn't even warn me.
I tried to get out of there, get his face.
Hey, well-deserved, though. Your first triple-double. I mean, just take me through. You talked to your dad. You sent him the text, let it fly. You've been letting it fly ever since, and now you get such a reward. Well-deserved tonight. How does it feel?
That feels good. I mean, I got amazing teammates that make it really easy for me, so a lot of credit goes to them.
So many different players stepped up here tonight. Kristaps even back here for the first time in 5 games. How much does he impact this game?
He's unreal. Just his gravity, the things he can do on the court, can shoot it from anywhere in the building, and down low you got to send a double, triple. So it's great to have him back. It's good to get his legs back and have him back.
Do you guys have a special handshake on the side there, by the way? Our broadcast called it out. We needed to know the inside scoop if y'all do.
Oh, me and KP?
Yeah.
Nah, not so secret.
Good to know. And then just lastly, Coach talked about how many different guys have been able to not only step up, but really capitalizing on the extended minutes. We've seen it from Pritchard, we've seen it from O'Shea, all the way down to Springer. What does it say, not only about the depth about this team, but how unselfish you guys play throughout the stretch?
Yeah, top to bottom. Doesn't matter who we have out there. We know we're going to get the same thing. Credit to all those guys, man. They work their tail off day in, day out, behind the scenes, and it's good to see them reward with some playing time and playing well.
Congratulations. Go celebrate this.
Appreciate it.
Abby, DiJonai, and Zora joining us live right now, and Derrick White doing it all out there for the Celtics, scoring, rebounding, playmaking. DiJonai, I'll start with you. Just where was Derrick White's biggest impact in tonight's win?
I mean, we saw the three-point shooting, but I was locked into the way he was facilitating. He got the ball to all the right people. I know he leads his team in assists, but he had an amazing night, just getting the ball to the people in the right places to score.
All I know is I'm a little upset. We don't get many Gatorade showers. The Celtics very reserved when it comes to those. Kayla, first time on the sideline. an amazing job, but she got the Gatorade shower there. Derrick White take over Zora. This was your first real Derrick White experience. What'd you think?
Yeah, well, I've seen him get hot from the outside before watching these Celtics games, but the way that he let the game come to him, you know, it started in the first half with all those threes, but then you started to see the assists piling up towards the end of that second half, and what a performance by Derrick White, and to be able to do it at home. And I know you talked about his family being able to watch it. Just has to be a remarkable moment for that young man. Payton Pritchard also, I mean, the way that this team was sharing the basketball, that's what really stood out to me. On a time when it was a lot of different lineups on the court, maybe guys that don't get to play together a lot, and them still finding each other in their spots.
There were a number of rotations in this game, guys on the floor that had never played together. And you're right, the ball movement does not stop with this group. The threes don't stop, raining threes. This was Celtics basketball, and we saw it from everybody up and down the line. So it was good to see.
Joe, Derrick had quite the hunt for that last assist there for the triple-double. Did you drop a play for him in that timeout to make sure he got that last one? And just how was that how was it for the team watching him get the triple-double?
Yeah, it was great. So, we went to just an off-ball action, and Payton did a great job. If not, Payton's feet did a great job of reading the screen and popping out and making a shot and just put him in position to try to get that. And, it's great for him. I'm happy for him. He's continuing to grow as a two-way player on both sides of the ball. I don't know how many blocks he had or steals, but so the triple-double kind of, it's an example of who he is as a player, but it doesn't show how great he is on both ends of the floor,
You hit the shot to give Derrick his triple-double. How was that moment, and how was that kind of like run to try to get him that last assist?
I knew we ran an action to get him the ball. Me and Steve were going to run a little two-man action, so I knew one of us was going to get it, and if I got it, I was going to let it fly. So I'm just glad I made it, got him the triple. So,
did you owe him something after Oregon beat Colorado the other night? Did you figure you owed him a little something?
For sure. I mean, obviously, I won the deal, so I had to give him something back. So,
did you guys have anything riding on that game?
Yeah, we had something. Undy White. We had something riding on it.
No comment. We both in the tournament, we good.
Yeah, true.
How aware were you guys about it? Everyone knew?
I was aware, for sure. I think everybody was aware. I mean, it's pretty easy to look up there and you see 22, 10, and 9. So, yeah, no, we definitely were going to try to help him out with it.
You got your first triple-double. What was that like going through, though, that clearly you were trying to get that final assist, but what's it like to get your first triple-double?
Yeah, I'm not usually one that tries to chase stats or whatnot, but I seen that I was one away. I realized I was two away, and that's probably why I had those 3 turnovers there at the end. But you can only. I've been close a lot of times, so I was like, I'm gonna try to get it this time, and I just gotta shout out to my teammates for real.
We're joking. Obviously, you heard the jokes with Payton, him being the guy that got you that last one after Oregon beat Colorado.
It was the least he could do for me.
Do you want to take this opportunity to let us in on was there a wager on this or on that game?
There was a couple dollars exchanged. I was extremely confident going into that game, but it was a good game. Credit to Oregon, obviously, but like I said, we're both in the tournament, and I think we're gonna make a run here. So let's go Buffs.
Derrick, in that timeout before you ended up getting the triple-double, you were shaking your head, figured that Joe would probably pull you at that point. What did you say to Joe, or what did he say to you to convince you to stay out there and get that last shot?
I was really just shaking my head because I turned it over those 2 times, and he was like, "You're gonna have a minute to get it." So went out there, and shout out to Payton for. I knew Payton and Speed they'd figure something out and get a good look, and he knocked it down.
Then your whole thing is not stat padding. So how did it feel to be a stat padder for 2 minutes there?
It was weird. I didn't like it, and I didn't play too good doing it. So I gotta not do that ever again, hopefully.
How'd it feel being back out there?
Felt great. Just different because I had the minutes restriction. Just different spurts of playing. It barely played in the first. Then in the second, had a longer stretch. Something unusual, but other than that, it's always good to be out there.
Was that pre-planned to have that long stretch, or?
No, Joe talked to me towards the end of second quarter. He was like, "I'll just sit you with this one so we can play in the second half more in case if the game is close or whatever." He wanted to have those minutes for me available, and so of course I agreed and that was it. So that's why it was weird like that.
Kristaps, when did the injury happen?
To be honest, it was weird. Like after the Denver game, I was a little sore the next day after the game. So I didn't even mention it to anybody. It was just some tightness and whatever. And then the day of Phoenix game, I kind of started warming up in the morning and I started to feel something. So I said it to the medical staff, and of course they were really cautious with it. So we did some imaging and you could see something, of course. But it was mostly out of caution, to be honest. If life or death or if it was playoffs, I would have been completely fine. And we took a long time and got to work on everything, but especially my hamstrings, and I feel good now. And it was just a lot of caution, I would say.
Do you think the minutes restriction will continue?
I hope not. I want to be out there, for more. But I understand, of course, the most important is to get to playoffs as fresh as possible and as strong as possible.
You mentioned that being unusual tonight. A lot of guys talk about staying warm and things like that. You play 6 minutes, sit the rest of the first, sit the whole second, sit halftime, and then you play a really long stretch. What are the things you had to do to be prepared for that?
Simple things. Just I got on the bike at the end of the first half. Got on the bike a little bit just to move around. I knew I was going to sit for 15 more minutes here in the locker room. So I got out early, 7 minutes, got warming up again, did just a bunch of warm-up, honestly, a lot of warm-up today, and then was ready for second half.
And how did it feel when you were out there? Did you notice it at
No.
all?
Zero thought. I wanted to play earlier. I wanted to play the second Phoenix game already. I was pushing for it, but I understood that it's just to be cautious and to be smart. We just took our time, and now zero nothing, and look to keep getting more of those minutes.
When you first got here, you made it the point last year that you only missed time because of illness, that you didn't really have any injuries. This year you've missed 1 game, 2 games here or there for all these different little things, but nothing's really kept you out that long. So how have you guys managed it? Has it been different than last year? Have you guys been more cautious, and how do you feel you're holding up?
Definitely more cautious here, I could have played through more stuff, 100%, but I understand there will be a time and place for me to play through stuff, and not, especially at this point in the season, we're in a pretty good spot. And we know what the most important thing is the playoffs, and that's what we need to be healthy, fresh, and ready to leave everything out there. So it's a different mindset here than on other teams that I've been on. But of course, me as a player, I always want to be out there against, no disrespect, but against Detroit, against whoever, regular season, end of season, I don't care. I want to be out there, And just having in mind the big picture.
How remarkable is it what you guys have been doing despite, missing 3 starters last night, missing 3 of the top 6 tonight? Continue to keep dominating, not just rolling, but dominating.
This is the type of team we have. It's a big privilege, for us. Some guys are out, not some guys, top guys are out, and other guys just step in, and we could just keep rolling as a team. It's a privilege that. I don't know if there's on one hand teams in the league that are like us. I don't think so. So, we believe we're at a different level, and we're gonna have to show it in the postseason.
You have advantages now since things are kind of locked up. You get to play with different guys, try some different combinations. What's it like out there, starting the game with Luke and getting Tillman in there? What's it like playing with those guys?
It's an adjustment, of course, a little bit. It wasn't the regular fives that I was out there, with today. But we make it work. We read each other, we play off of each other. A lot of the stuff is just open, and we play off of each other, knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses. But I'm not gonna lie, me and Luke together, it was like we were running to the same spots all the time, like doing the same things. So I was like, the spacing was a little bit not perfect today, early on in the game, but we figured it out.
You have this opportunity. You get like a few weeks of maybe you just try it, a little bit more. You never know when you're gonna have to go to that combination of you and Luke against certain guys. So there's kind of like a little bit of a luxury here to kind of try that out in regular season games.
Oh, definitely. And depending on matchups in the playoffs, you never know. There's going to be, as you said, different situations, and it's good that we have the flexibility and also these kind of moments where some guys are sitting out, and we can try out these different things, right? So it will definitely just add more to our toolbox.
You mentioned how much you like playing with Derrick White. How excited were you for him to get his first career triple-double?
This guy is, I think it's hard not to love him, This guy, just on and off the court is a unique human and unique player. I can go on and give compliments to D. White, honestly, about who he is. Everybody loves him here. And it's good always to see people like this, getting recognition on the floor also, and that's what he did tonight.
All right, next up, a little uptick in the competition level. The Bucks come to Boston on Wednesday night. Excited to be in the building for that one. Our crew will be back over there. I'm eager to see exactly what both teams deploy for personnel. Do you come back with Kristaps Porzingis after limiting his minutes and maybe ramp that up a little bit? Feel pretty good with that. Jason Tatum will be back out there. How do you play the rest of your personnel? There's one line of thinking that says the Bucks beat you pretty bad the last meeting up there in Milwaukee, and you can send a little bit of a message about how good you are at this point and how they're not still on your level despite some strides made since adding Doc Rivers. There's another line of thinking that says, like, if there's one team you feel like you're probably going to have to go through to get to the NBA Finals, it's the Bucks. And so maybe it's better to play things a little close to the vest. I just hope that we get a competitive game one way or another. It sure seems like regardless of who the Celtics trot out there, they find a way to be competitive every night. That they weren't competitive in Milwaukee is probably the most jarring. It's such an outlier this season. One of the few games where they just didn't have it and no one had it and no one could get it going. So I do think the Celtics have pushed hard for revenge in certain spots. I think about that Minnesota game, Golden State rematch. So let's see if how hard they push here. There's another Milwaukee game on the schedule in April before this thing finishes up. That one can be even less than this one. Celtics could be clinching everything in sight with home court for the duration of their playoff stay, slowly moving closer into focus, and just eager to see how they play it. Maybe there'll be another perfect night. While we're waiting for that one, go subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.